Oi, gente! Hello, everyone! Welcome to this class. Bem-vindos a esta aula. Eu sou Virginia, sua professora brasileira. I'm Virginia, your Brazilian Portuguese teacher. Today, we are going to talk about essential vocabulary that you need to know before you travel to Brazil or before you spend the holidays with your Brazilian family or friends. I hope this class is useful for you. I prepared a list of very useful vocabulary phrases, and we are going to talk a little bit about more formal and informal variations, and I'm also going to answer any questions that you have throughout the class. You can always use the chat to ask questions, and also you can also help me provide more information if you have experience, if you have been to Brazil. You can also help me help the other students to learn more vocabulary. So let me know in the chat if you can see me and hear me well. Where are you from? De onde você é? Me diz no chat. Deixe-me ver seus comentários. Okay, so it seems this... Oh, okay. Let me see. Olá, quem está aqui? Paul, tudo bom, Paul? Olá, Roger. Olá, Roger. Jeremy, tudo bom? Antônio, Julian, olá. Gringo oficial, olá. Tânia, tudo bom? Desce. Quanta gente. Alexandre, olá. Welcome, welcome. Bem-vindos. Muito bom. I'm happy to be here with you today. So our class will last about 30 minutes. I hope you can stay with us until the end. And as always, I prepared a PDF that you can download so you can follow this class. You can download it now if you want. The link is right below the video, or you can download it later so you can review the content. It's a list of the most essential vocabulary that you need to know. Olá, México, que legal! Estocolmo, que legal! Olá! Phoenix! A Leida do Peru, que legal! Olá! Julian de SoCal, muito bom!
South California.
SoCal is South California, Rob just told me. I did not know that. I'm not very good with acronyms. This is not an acronym. Olá, do Canadá, tudo bom? Ian, Miami Beach, oh, I'm envy of the weather. Da França, tudo bom? Texas, Kansas, oh, wow. Muito bom, let's get started. I love reading your comments here, but we have a lot to cover today, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Vamos lá. Okay, so before we start, I have a fun announcement. This week, I'm hosting this challenge that I created to help you prepare if you're going to Brazil and you need to learn vocabulary quickly, or if you just want to brush up on your Portuguese before you go to Brazil, or if you're spending the holidays with Brazilians. This course will really help you review all the most essential vocabulary you need to learn, how to introduce yourself, how to ask for directions, how to order food in a restaurant, how to start a conversation in Portuguese. And how to start a conversation in Portuguese will be the main topic of our workshop that I'm hosting tomorrow. So tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. New York time, I'll be live on Zoom with the students that signed up for the challenge. And there is a difference between these classes that I teach on YouTube and the classes that I teach on Zoom, obviously, right? Because these classes, only you can see me, I cannot see you, and I can only interact with you through the chat. But in this workshop that I'm teaching tomorrow, we'll be all on Zoom with cameras and microphones, so I can see you and hear you, and you also have the opportunity to have some speaking practice and ask questions. So if this is something that you seem it's interesting and useful to you, there's still time to sign up. Just go to our website, speakingbrazilian.com, and look for, you see on the top the link so you can click and sign up for the Travel Fluency Challenge. This challenge includes a digital course with all the content that you need to learn, plus assignments that you can complete and receive feedback from a Brazilian teacher, plus the workshop that I'm hosting tomorrow. If you have any questions, let me know. Vamos lá. Or maybe you can share the link in the chat, Rob, for the challenge. Então, vamos falar sobre vocabulário. Let's talk about vocabulary. We're going to start with how to greet. And I also want to hear from you in the chat if you would like to add anything to my list. Any other ways of greeting people that you've seen Brazilians using, because it's really, Brazil is a big country and we have many regional variations, which is something that I really find fascinating. But it's really important that you learn the standard forms, right? So that's, in this class, I hope to show you the most standard forms, but also I'm going to give you a little bit of informal variations as well. So when you arrive at a place and you want to greet people, these two first ones are the most useful, the most common ones. Oi just means hi, and olá means hello. To me, olá sounds a little bit more formal, and oi sounds more like friendly. So usually when I speak with my friends, I say oi, oi. Sometimes you can like make the last vowel longer, right? Oi, olá. Both are commonly used. And during this class, I recommend you repeat after me the phrases that I'm saying, so you get some pronunciation practice. And repeating out loud will also help you retain and memorize this vocabulary. Okay, so Rob added the link, direct link to the chat if you want to learn more about the Travel Fluency Challenge. So now we have this two questions here, tudo bem, tudo bom? We always ask this when you greet someone, even if you don't know the person. This is just considered to be a polite way of greet someone. Oi, tudo bem? Olá, tudo bem? It means how are you? But even if you don't know the person, and even if you're not really interested in learning how the person is, this is just a polite way of greeting, right? I feel like it's similar in the US. It's very common to say, oh, how are you? How's it going? But then you don't really say how you're feeling, right? You only really say how you're really feeling to close friends, not strangers, in the supermarket. But it is polite to ask. So in Brazil, it's the same. It's really polite to ask. Oi, tudo bem? Oi, tudo bom? What is the difference between tudo bem, tudo bom? Honestly, both ways are used. And they have the same meaning. Some people say tudo bem, some people say tudo bom. It's perfectly fine. You can use either one. And to answer, you can also use the same phrase to answer. So this can be a question or an answer. You can say tudo bem as a question and tudo bem as an answer, which means, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm good, I'm well. So tudo bem, tudo bom, these two sentences, phrases, they can work as a question or an answer. Same sentence, okay? Same phrase. And then we have these three ones that are very standard ways of greeting. You can actually replace, if you don't want to say tudo bem, you can just say bom dia, or you can actually combine all of these. You can say oi, tudo bem, bom dia. You can combine all these versions, or you can just say just bom dia, boa tarde, ou boa noite. Okay, because when you say bom dia, boa tarde, ou boa noite, it's very polite. This works as a more, it's not really formal, but it sounds standard. You can use this in formal situations. And also it's very polite if you enter a place and if you say bom dia, if it is in the morning. We do separate in Brazil the morning from the afternoon. I know that in some languages, like in French, you say bonjour all day long, right? In Portuguese, in Brazil, we usually separate. So afternoon, we usually say boa tarde, which means good afternoon. This is the most common way of greeting, of wishing, like, oh, good afternoon. And it could be used as a greeting, like, hi, good afternoon, boa tarde. It's a standard way of saying hello, I just arrived, it's nice to see you, boa tarde. And boa noite, good evening. One interesting comment about the word noite is that in Portuguese we don't have a difference between evening and night. We only have one single word for evening and night. So boa noite could mean good evening when you arrive at a place and you're greeting someone, but also could mean good night, boa noite, when you're going to bed, right? So the meaning will be implied by the context and the time, right? If so you can say boa noite when you arrive at a place, or when you're leaving, or if you're going to bed and saying good night to your family members. Any comments or questions so far? Let me know in the chat. Let me see what else I have here. I'm just gonna finish this section and then I'll go to the chat to see if you have questions or anything to add. Okay, if you have any questions about this, let me know. So I'm gonna give you a couple of informal versions now. Let me see. I'm just gonna move this to the other page so you can see them together. Okay. So these three versions are very informal. And I honestly don't use them, but I hear a lot of people using them. So, e aí, beleza? It's a way of greeting someone in a very informal way. Something like, oh, what's up? Opa, fala aí. So these are all informal versions of saying hello. There are many others. If you know other ones, you can add in the chat. And then before we move to the next section, I'm gonna go to the chat and see if you guys have any comments or questions for me. Let me see. Olá, olá. Yes, tomara que você tenha bom dia. This is a good one, Jeremy, and it sounds more, it's like you're wishing the person a good day, right? So this is common when you are leaving, or if the person is leaving. Let's say your friend or your spouse is leaving for work. You could say, tomara que você tenha ótimo dia. I hope you have a great day. Tomara means I hope that. There are other verbs that we could use here. You could say, espero que você tenha ótimo dia. So just one detail here in the form of the verb. This phrase tomara que is a trigger for the subjunctive mood, which is a more advanced topic, but I just wanted to point out that when you say tomara que, you have to change the form of the verb to the subjunctive mood, and then you should say tomara que você tenha ótimo dia. Tomara que você tenha ótimo dia. So this structure is used in this other tense, this subjunctive mood. Bom te ver. I like this one, Timothy. So this is basically, oh, it's nice to see you. Bom te ver. Always used with friends, of course, people that you already know. Bom te ver. Tenha bom dia. Oh yeah, so this will be tenha bom dia. And I'm going to cover this in this next session, Gloria, because now I'm going to say how when you're leaving, right? When you're saying goodbye, because this is usually something that we say when we are leaving a place or saying goodbye to someone, right? You wish the person to have a good day. I'll give you a couple of options. So, como você tá? Yeah, so this is also a good version, Julian. Como você tá? Como você tá? It means how are you as well. It's another way of asking how are you. Né? Como você tá? Como você está means how are you. Muito bom. Okay, so let's go back to my list and then I'll go back to the chat in a few minutes, okay? So manifest, I'll be here for another like 15 minutes. Vamos lá. Okay, so now let's see how to say goodbye when you're leaving. There are so many ways to say goodbye. So the most traditional one, ciao. It's usually used for people that you know. Ciao means goodbye. But also even strangers, if you talk to that person, at least for a minute, you can say ciao, I'm leaving. Ciao just means bye. Até logo if you're seeing the person soon. And don't say that if you're not seeing the person anytime soon. Até breve has the same meaning. Até mais tarde, see you later. Até a próxima, see you next time. I really like these ones when you're leaving, just wishing like a good day, a good afternoon, a good evening, right? So, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. You see that these phrases, they were also in the greetings, that when you say, you can also use these phrases to say hi, but you can also use them to say bye. And at the same time, you're wishing the person to have a good day, a good afternoon, a good evening, right? Bom dia. So, ciao, bom dia. So it means like bye, have a good day. So basically, when you just say bom dia, it's implied that you're saying have a good day. It's a very short way of saying have a good day. If you're leaving, it's implied that you're wishing the person has a good day. So this is a very simple and easy. Of course, you can use like complete sentences, but if you're a beginner level student, you don't have to. You can just say bom dia. Most Brazilians make things very short in our everyday lives, right? This is very common in every language to make the language shorter, so the conversation it's more fluid and quicker, right? So bom dia, ciao, bom dia. This is how I would say most of the time. Like if I'm leaving to the university and Rob's staying at home, I'm not gonna say to him, tenha bom dia, have a good day. It's a long sentence. I just say, ciao, bom dia. I just wish him a good day in a quick way. Same thing, you can say boa tarde or boa noite. But also, if you want to be more formal, depending on the situation, you can then use the complete sentence, because then it sounds a little bit more formal. So you could say, tenha bom dia. So basically here, using the verb, and you see this form I mentioned a little bit earlier. This is the subjunctive mood, because it's implied that I'm saying, espero que você tenha, right? I'm wishing you a good day. It could also be the imperative form, right? Tenha, have a good day. So here, the form is not tem, it's tenha. Tenha bom dia. So if you have never studied these more complex tenses before, it's okay. Just remember, if you want to say the complete sentence, this is the form of the verb, right? Tenha bom dia, and then you can repeat for the other parts of the day. You can say tenha bom dia, tenha uma boa noite, tenha uma boa tarde. So you see that I change and uma here because I have to agree the gender changes, right? So the word dia is a masculine noun. Even though it ends with a, you know that most of the words in Portuguese that end with a, they are feminine, but not all of them. So dia is actually a masculine noun. Tarde is a feminine noun, and noite is also a feminine noun. So that's why I say tenha bom dia, because and bom, they have to agree in gender and number with the word dia. And that's why I say tenha uma boa tarde, because uma and boa have to agree with the noun tarde, which is a feminine noun. Tenha uma boa noite. Okay? So this is a little bit more formal because you're using the complete sentence. If you find this too complicated, just use the short form that I just mentioned earlier. Just say bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. This is perfectly fine and it's acceptable in all situations. Comments, questions, I'm gonna go to the chat again. Anything would you like to add, or any comments or questions? Let me know. What other ways, what else would you say to say goodbye when you're leaving a place in Portuguese? I like that, José. I do that a lot. Ciao, ciao. I do that in many of my videos, and it sounds really natural to me to say twice. Ciao, ciao. Yeah, Daniel. I think it really helps. Most of my students, they are Americans, so I think that's why I'm teaching this class in English. I have lots of, and also students from many other countries. I don't speak every single language, so I just use English as our lingua franca, right, to help everyone understand what I'm saying. Muito bom. Oh, até amanhã is a good one if you're seeing the person the next day, right? You can say até amanhã, see you tomorrow. So this word até means until, but you can say, actually means I see you tomorrow. Até amanhã, until tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Até amanhã. You can also say até semana que vem. See you next week. You can add almost anything after até, right? And then like it could be a specific day of the week. Até quarta, see you on Wednesday. So you can add a lot of things after the word até if you know that you're seeing that person in that day, right? That specific day of the week or the next month or whatever you want to say. Oh, I like this one, até mais. I use this a lot. It just means what I'm doing here. Okay, it just means see you later. Até mais, see you later. I think it's short for até mais tarde. See you later, até mais. Yes, you can just say até mais. Good questions. Bom dia, sound in English without it. I'm not sure I understand your question, Dana, between the north and the south. Bom dia sounds like... okay, you're talking about the pronunciation of the word, the letter D. I wouldn't say there's a best version. We have some variations of accent. I say dia, dia, bom dia. Some people would say dia, dia. But you see this variation both in the north and the south, okay? Because Brazil is really big. And I was born in the north and I lived in the south, and everyone around me always said dia. But some cities in the northeast, they would say dia, like in Recife, if I'm not mistaken. And also in Paraná, no Sul, they would say dia. So it depends, really, it's more regional. It's not really about north and south. It's more about like specific cities and states. I believe the pronunciation dia is the most common one, and dia would be a second version, but also common. So you can use both. Everyone will understand you. There's no right or wrong here. Ótima pergunta. Oh, I like these ones too. Timothy is like, bom dia. I could say tudo ótimo, tudo jóia. Okay, tudo ótimo is everything is great. Tudo ótimo. Tudo jóia means also everything is well and good. It's another variation. I think some people like to say tudo jóia. I don't really use this, but I hear this a lot. Yeah, I think in Portugal they don't do this j pronunciation. This is a Brazilian thing. So dia, this pronouncing the d as a j is a Brazilian variation, right? In Portugal, the d sounds like a d, 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 not like as a j, j. So in Brazil, we make the d sound, it goes a little bit backwards. It becomes palatized. This is an influence from other languages that we had in Brazil. Oh, interesting. Okay, everybody, so I'm gonna go back to the document and see how much we have, like about 6 minutes left, and then I'll go back to the comments and see if you have any other questions or comments to add, okay? Remember to download the document that is, the link is below the video, so you can see the complete list that I prepared for you. And if you are interested in learning more, consider signing up for the Travel Fluency Challenge so you can have like video lessons and really learn all this and much more in more detail. Vamos lá. So, quickly, how to introduce yourself. This is very basic, so I think most of you know this. There are many ways that you can introduce yourself. You can say, eu sou, I am, né? Eu sou Virginia, ou meu nome é Virginia, my name is, right? And also, of course, you want to know how the other person's name. So the most common way of asking is qual é o seu nome? What is your name? Qual é? Qual é? Remember that in Brazil, we don't pronounce the L sound at the end. We pronounce the L as U. Qual é? Qual é o seu nome? Another way of saying your name is using this other structure, eu me chamo, which means I am called. Eu me chamo is very common in Portuguese. And also you can ask the question using the same structure. Como você se chama? How are you called? But these are all like interchangeably used. Some people say in one way, and I mix these versions myself, depending on the situation. And right after introducing yourself, or you want to say it's nice to meet you, right? So the most simple way of saying this is just one single word. Just say prazer. Prazer literally means pleasure, but in this context, when you just met someone, means, oh, nice to meet you, prazer. And then you can say it's very nice to meet you, muito prazer. And then you can stand your hand, you shake hands, prazer, muito prazer. So these are very common ways. You don't have to say complete sentences. You can just say the word and it's implied, and this is very common in every situation. And also, if someone said prazer, you can just answer, o prazer é meu, the pleasure is mine. O prazer é meu. In more formal language, if you want to be more formal, you can use more complete sentences. You can say, prazer em conhecê-lo, if you're meeting a man, or prazer em conhecê-la, if you're meeting a woman. So this lo, la agrees with the gender of the person you're talking to. You could also make this, instead of lo, la, you can use the word você. Oh, prazer em conhecer você. This is another version. And I just want to go quickly over these sentences, these quick phrases and sentences on how to overcome communication issues, like if you don't understand something. This is really, really important to learn before you go to Brazil or before you spend time with Brazilians, because this can really help you move the conversation forward. So you can just ask, if you know the person speaks English, for example, you could say, oh, how do you say this specific word in Portuguese, right? And if you want to say that in Portuguese, you would say, como se diz? How do you say? And then you say the word in Portuguese. So let's practice. Ask me a question in the chat using this structure, como se diz? And then you just can add any word here in English, and then the rest in Portuguese. This is a good practice. Type in the chat. Como se diz em português? Como se diz a glass of water em português? É copo d'água. Copo d'água. If you need to write something, this is something that you can also ask. Como se escreve? How do you write it? Or como se soletra? How do you spell it? So this can really help if you're having a conversation and you want to, oh, I'm not sure I understand what you said. How do you write it? You can write it down. Sometimes if you do that, you can understand what the person is really saying. Also, if this sentence is really very useful. O que significa? What does it mean? If you say that immediately after someone said something, they will understand, but you can also add the name here. O que significa? And then you can say the name that you don't understand. If you want to communicate that you did understand something, this is the most common way. Entendi. It means I understood, I got it. Entendi. But if you didn't understand, you should say, eu não entendi. I did not understand. Eu não entendi. Desculpe, eu não entendi. I'm sorry, I did not understand. So I know that in English it's very common to use this, to say these things in the present tense. I understand, I don't understand. In Brazil, in Portuguese, it's more common to use the verb in the past tense in this type of situations. Instead of saying I understand, we say I understood, because we're referring to the seconds that just passed. This is also very useful. Poderia repetir, por favor? Could you repeat, please? Poderia repetir, por favor? Poderia falar mais devagar, por favor? Could you speak slower, please? This is also very, very useful. Desculpe, eu não falo português. This can really help you just let people know that you don't speak Portuguese yet. Desculpe, eu não falo português. Você fala inglês? So this, I really recommend you use these last two if you are at a level that you cannot really have conversations yet. But you want to be polite, right? You don't want to be that rude person that just goes to Brazil and thinks that everyone should speak your language. It is polite to let people know, I'm sorry, I don't speak your language. Do you speak English? So this is a way of starting the conversation, and they'll be really happy to switch and try to communicate with you in your language if they can, right? So this is a way of showing respect, right? So, desculpe, eu não falo português. Você fala inglês? Or you can also add any other language here, espanhol. So you can show that you respect our language. Let's go to your comments. We're almost at the end of this class. If you have any last minute comments or questions, let me know. Quanto custa? You could say, yeah, quanto custa means how much does this cost? This is a very useful question if you are shopping in Brazil. Oh, interesting. In Portuguese, we have a difference between, for bonne journée, we say, tenha bom dia. Tenha bom dia would be our equivalent. Muito bom! Beautiful blouse. É uma blusa bonita, uma blusa bonita. I have parrots. Tem papagaios na minha blusa. Como se diz? How much? Muito bom. How much é quanto custa? Quanto custa? Excelente. Como se diz? Meeting, reunião. It really depends. Meeting is an interesting word because in Portuguese it could be reunião if it is like a work meeting, or it could be encontro if it is like just meeting with friends. Encontro. So it depends. Library. Oh, this is hard. And it's a false friend, right? Because we have the word livraria, which means bookstore. And we have the word biblioteca, which means library. So percebo is more common in Portugal. Percebo means, oh, I perceive. What do you mean? The meaning is the same. It means the same thing as, oh, I understand. But in Brazil, we usually say, eu entendi, instead of percebi. Percebi is very common in Portugal, but the meaning is the same. As far as I know, it's the same meaning. Muito bom. Quanto sai? Could also be like quanto sai. It's similar to quanto custa. Muito bom. Excellent comments and questions. So reaching the end of this session, I hope this was useful for you. Let me change the camera. Okay. Last question I'm going to answer. So, como se diz appointment? Poderia ser medical or formal. So, appointment is also a difficult word to translate because it depends on the context. So, if it is a medical appointment, we usually say consulta. It's like a consultation, right? Consulta médica. Uma consulta médica. But in other contexts, could be uma reunião. It really, really depends. It's really context dependent, the use of appointment in Portuguese. Também pode ser tendi. Yes, we love shortening words in Portuguese, as you guys probably know. Okay, everybody, I feel like I could spend a long time talking about this because this is really a long topic, right? Vocabulary, it's almost infinite. There are thousands of words, but I hope I brought to you the essential ones. You should start with the essential ones, and then little by little you can build up your vocabulary so you can communicate better and in a more complex ways. If you find this useful, download the list that is below the video, the link. You find everything that we covered today and much more. That's a bigger list of essential vocabulary. And if you want to learn more and join me tomorrow for a 2-hour workshop on Zoom, sign up for the Travel Fluency Challenge. It's still available and you can sign up on our website, speakingbrazilian.com. Foi prazer estar com vocês hoje. Tenham lindo dia. Tchau! Tchau, tchau!